Hi and welcome. This is Tom Renner. I'm the CFO for SIATech, and today we're going to present the LCAP annual update and review our LCAP goals and our progress for this year, and take a look at our proposed goals for next year. All right, first of all, the LCAP stands for the Local Control Accountability Plan, and this is a school-wide strategic plan that districts and charter schools need to put together as part of our local control funding formula, in which is the way that we are funded by the state of California. With this, the purpose is to empower schools to better serve low-income students, homeless, and other underserved subgroups. And for SIATech, that is virtually almost all of our students. Included in the LCAP is information that demonstrates how SIATech is using their LCFF funds to increase and improve services to these students. It's based on an assessment of local needs, so we're constantly gathering feedback from all of our stakeholders. And it's the accountability system that gives SIATech the initiative to make and measure strategic goals. Now, as we look at the LCAP review process, and this is in terms of fiscal year, July through October, we're evaluating progress from the prior year, conducting a needs assessment, and consulting with stakeholders. And this happens formally as well as informally. Formally, we have an LCAP team that has regular meetings, and as well as other meetings that are set up throughout the year to look at data, student data, as well as other team meetings. In November through January, we're again always looking and identifying the goals, actions, and services, and lining those up with the governor's January budget that is put out. With that, we're looking at the resources and aligning all those actions and services with the proposed budget, and continuing to consult with stakeholders. February through March, again, we inform stakeholders, providing this annual update to take a look at how we're doing, providing updates and soliciting comments from stakeholders to see how we were doing and see what kind of changes that need to be made, and adjust the goals, actions, and services based on that input. Finally, in April through June, we finalize the revisions to the LCAP plan, align it to the May budget, the final, hopefully the final proposed budget by the state, and make revisions and send that report it out to our board of directors, which ultimately adopts it in June along with our budget. Here's just some brief information related to the LCFF and LCAP. The LCAP was created, as I said, as part of the local control funding formula, which changed the way funding for schools in California was made in 2013. Before then, there was just a small funding amount and a lot of add-on state-funded add-ons or categorical programs. And with the change into the local control funding formula, it wrapped all of these funding sources for the most part all together into one, creating a base formula for each school, which and then a supplemental and concentration portion based on so an extra pot of money, so to speak, for those higher need students. The base basically covers what your base program, so to speak, what's legally required, and the supplemental concentration portion kind of being that value added, or what is that you're doing above your base program to see that your students succeed. The LCAP describes the goals and actions and services towards achieving those goals. And it also has detailed information on the budget related to those items. So just looking at how much this funding consists of and how it relates to SIATech's total revenue. Here you can see the LCFF funding for 19 and 20. And you can see there how the base grant represents roughly 59.5% of our total revenue for SIATech, and the supplemental concentration portion adding in another 21.3% of SIATech's projected total revenue for this fiscal year, 2019 to 20. All right, and now we'll go on to look at the current goals.
So we're looking at our SIATech Charter LCAP update for 2019-2020 school year. Our current goal for SIATech Charter High School is to increase support services for targeted student groups, including ELL, homeless, special education, and foster youth. What you see here is our graduation rate by year. In the 2018 school year, we were at a 35.5% graduation rate. We have increased that by 26.9%, where you see that we are at 62.4% graduated. We have not met our 70% goal, but we are showing progress towards meeting the goal. We're looking at our student English language acquisition results. We are showing here that we are 50% towards making progress towards English language proficiency. Also, our SIATech teachers are appropriately assigned and credentialed, and what that looks like is our hiring process. We ensure that we hire credentialed teachers. We also, for teachers that come to us with preliminary credentials, we provide them with an induction program to ensure that they are credentialed. Our SIATech facilities are maintained and in good repair, and this shows that we are meeting that standard. SIATech has fully implemented the academic content and performance standards within courses. Our courses meet the A through G requirement, and we meet this standard as well. The school has developed a variety of strategies to engage stakeholders in the school improvement process. SIATech conducts annual LCAP surveys and parent surveys. Examples of this you'll see in our next slides. We do meet this standard.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm going to talk about the Gallup results. Every year we conduct this survey with all of our students, and it's also a survey that's conducted nationwide, so it provides us with good analysis of how our students are doing compared to the national average. So as you look at these slides, the blue represents SIATech and the orange represents the national results. Engagement overall, SIATech performs much better with showing that our students are engaged. Down below in the right-hand corner, you can see I feel safe in this school. 80% of SIATech students agreed with that statement compared to 64% overall nationwide. So it's a good example of our students feeling safe, secure, and engaged with their learning environment. The next slide shows hope, and hope has been shown to be a strong predictor of college GPA and retention. The majority of SIATech students were hopeful, 54% in the previous year, 52% in 2019. But that's much higher than the national average, which was 41% as hopeful. So SIATech students do demonstrate a strong level of hope. The next slide shows entrepreneurial aspiration. And since SIATech has this very strong career pathways emphasis and partnership with Job Corps as well, as you can imagine, our students are much more entrepreneurial. So in the bottom left corner, you can see I plan to start my own business. 63% of SIATech students plan to do this compared to 39% nationwide. And finally, we have a slide that shows our financial literacy. So something that students are learning is how to save and spend money. Many are also working. So as you can see with financial literacy, 69% of SIATech students feel comfortable with finances versus 61% nationwide.
Thank you, Nicole and Linda. So that was our current goal, and we are in the part of our LCAP cycle where we are ending a 3-year cycle and going into a new LCAP cycle. And so we are looking at our current goals and then proposing new goals for our new cycle starting in the next school year. So our first proposed goal is to increase support services for all students to overcome identified barriers to graduation. So it's more specifically honed towards graduation, and that will be measured on the California dashboard by our graduation rate and also by our low suspension rate. So our suspension rate is typically very low, and so we will be using that as a measurement for keeping our students engaged.
Okay, hi everyone. A current SIATech charter goal is to increase the rigor and opportunities within the instructional program to better prepare students for college and career. The way we measure that and the way the state measures our work towards college and career readiness is the state has an approved set of college and career indicators, and all schools are measured with these indicators. The indicators that best match the work that SIATech Charter is doing with their students are career and technical education pathway completion, grade 11, smarter balanced summative assessments in ELA and mathematics, college credit courses, formerly called dual enrollment, and A through G completion. SIATech offers all of their academic courses meet A through G standards, and through our career and college pathway programs, all of our students have access to consider being enrolled in college courses while still enrolled in SIATech prior to high school graduation, and they have opportunities to earn college credits as well as to complete certification programs through college partnerships that are industry recognized certifications.
These are our math dashboard measures, and this is what the state uses to assess our students. You can see that we don't have performance colors for either 2017-18 or 2018-19, and this is because for the first year in 2017-18, we didn't test enough students to get data or a performance color, and so this carried over to the next dashboard, 2018-19, where we still didn't have enough, even though we tested enough students because of the prior year, we again did not get a color. However, we do have data. You can see that we're 206.4 points below standard. We were hoping to get a color this following year, but because assessments were canceled for this year, we will still be without color. The same is true for the English dashboard measures. We don't have a performance color for either 2017-18 or 2018-19, but we do still have some data. For ELA, we were 104.9 points below standard, which was a slight decline. However, the good news is we do have some internal assessments that we've been using, which you can see here, the growth to standard for 2018-19. We internally assess our students regularly throughout the year on both literacy and numeracy, and you can see by the graphs on here that the majority of students are either meeting or exceeding the expectations in both literacy and numeracy.
Thank you, Lori Pianka and Lori Belsman. So for our proposed goal number 2 for next school year is going to be to increase academic support services for our targeted student groups based on identified needs. So this goal focuses more on academic support, and it will continue to be measured by some of the measurements that you saw earlier in this presentation, our English language learners, and then also looking at subcategories in our state assessments for special ed students and other special needs classification of students. And then also, of course, we'll be looking at those state tests, which have been suspended for this year, and so we will continue to use our internal measures. This year for our SIATech goal number 3 was to really develop and implement some processes to evaluate our data and look at how we are measuring our students' progress and then how that influences the state dashboards. So to that end, we were able to design 8 different reports, and then we also identified a new tool to use to analyze data. It's called Who Knew It, and we will be implementing that in the next school year to make sure that all stakeholders have access to student achievement data and are able to use that to really inform and drive their instruction. Our proposed new goal for next year is to increase the career technical education programs to provide students with more opportunities to complete career pathways. So as you can see, we now have a more general goal towards graduation, one that really focuses on academic support, and then this one that really focuses on our career technical education programs. And this one will be measured by the college and career indicators, as you saw earlier in the presentation. That concludes our presentation this year on SIATech's LCAP plan. And so what we really need is to hear from you. You can click on the link below, and it's just a brief survey just about the 3 current goals and how you think that we are doing, and to give us some feedback on where you think we should be putting our resources and what goals you think we should be focusing on. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and please take a few minutes to take the survey. Thank you.